You could be the greatest individual in football history.
We are back with another video, and today I'm joined by a very knowledgeable football content creator in Tobes. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for having me on, man. What's good? What are you saying?
I'm good. Obviously, United could be better, but listen, can't complain, innit? But today we're doing something a bit different. We're going to be doing one signing we think each of the big six clubs should make.
Yeah.
So, for example, let me just think of a random example. Like United, for example, we can say De Jong. But I won't say De Jong because that's too obvious.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much going to be the entire concept of the show. And we're going to do it in alphabetical order. We're going to start with Arsenal. One signing you think Arsenal should make? If you're thinking, should I go first?
You can go first, yeah.
See, this might be a bit of a... I wouldn't say controversial, but I've seen people mixed on what Arsenal need, innit? I think, obviously, in this squad, if Thomas Partey does get injured, he's very vital to that side. But then in my eyes, I think they need a right back. And the reason I say that, yeah, Tomiyasu, for example, from what we've seen so far, seems to be picking a lot of injuries. And I've always said this, yeah, and I say this about United. You know, for example, when they play Ben White at right back, you're moving away Ben White from his primary position kind of thing, innit? And don't get me wrong, Saliba and Gabriel seem to be building a decent partnership, but you're still moving him away from another position.
Yeah.
And I think bringing in the right back, so obviously then they have a bit more luxury in terms of Ben White playing in the back three because you don't have to rely on the right.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I think Ben White's he was good against Zaha. I'm not saying that he was bad, but I think someone like Malo Gusto from Lyon could be a brilliant signing.
He looks a tank. I really liked him when I watched him against West Ham.
You know the reason I said him, yeah? I'm like, you know, Arteta likes the younger players. You can improve them. And obviously, I think he's 19, I think. He comes in, he doesn't expect to be the starter straight away. So you can rotate with when Tomiyasu is obviously back from injury. And I'm thinking like Arsenal, in terms of their fullbacks like to tuck inside, innit? Inverted fullbacks, for example, how a lot of teams are playing in the modern day. You see with Gusto, I'm pretty sure it was up to the under 16s. He was playing in midfield. So he's clearly comfortable inwards in possession. And when you're looking at his passing metrics and stuff, the guy averages over 17 passes per game from right back for Lyon.
Yeah, he can
carry the ball extremely well.
Looks very comfy with the ball at his feet.
I think that could be like one of... I said I would love him at United, but I think that could be a perfect signing for Arsenal.
Interesting. For me, I think they need an attacker, man. I think they're missing... Obviously, they need to get rid of Pepe first. But I look at their team, I'm like, what positions do Arsenal need? I think the backup for Thomas Partey is key. I think they need that. But I also think up top, I think Jesus alone isn't going to be enough. I know Saka came up leaps and bounds. I know Emerson throws there and stuff, but I feel like there needs to be more to it. And I feel like on Saka's side as well, he's the only one that plays right wing. So I'm like, where's the cover? Unless you're telling me you're keeping Pepe for another season, in which case that's not acceptable. It's not good enough. So I would go. I think they need another attacker. I've seen them linked with that Moussa Diaby guy. He looks like he would be a good signing for them and a sensible signing as well. I'm pretty sure he can play. He can play either flank as well. And I think he took a decent step in his goal scoring last year. I think he hit double figures in the Bundesliga as well. So he would be one. But I guess I'm cheating. I know we're only meant to give one, but I do think that Partey position is problematic for them as well. I really do. I actually do. I think Partey, you're playing 25. He's getting 25 league games a season. So that means he's missing 13 league games. Yeah, that's happened the past 2 seasons. If he hits over 30 appearances, great, good news for them. But I can't see that getting any better with Europa League football to contend with as well. So I just think the players that are coming in, they're not up to scratch over a long period of time. And I feel like they're really lacking in that position. I really do.
You know, in the forward area, I just thought of a random name here, and I know he's available on the cheap. Memphis Depay. Because I was thinking this year. You see, with the right hand side, for example, there are problems, isn't it? If for example, Saka gets injured. You bring in someone like Memphis Depay, he can obviously play up top. Then Gabriel Jesus can do the job on the right, if needed. And Memphis Depay has shown he can also play on the left.
But
And let's put that left-hand side, like, they still... I think some people have question marks over Martinelli, for example, innit?
But with Memphis, I think if he leaves Barcelona, he wants to be a starter. He don't want to be a rotational piece. And I feel like if he goes to Arsenal, I think he's better than Martinelli for sure. I think he's better than Emile Smith-Rowe. But I don't think he will get a guaranteed starting spot. And I think where Gabriel Jesus, they're looking to play him as a striker for the majority of the season. I don't think he's going to disrupt his team. I say disrupt. He's going to move pieces about just to accommodate Memphis. So I can't see that one happening.
I hear that. And someone said, how much do you know about Yeremy Pino? Do you know much? Yeah, I can't lie, I barely watch Villarreal.
Do you not
other
know
than
much
glimpses
about
and stuff. And someone said Partey ain't going to play Europe until the later rounds.
We'll see.
Probably.
We'll see, but I'm just looking at that position. I think it's light, man. Lokonga, he doesn't look a bad player, but I just don't think he's good enough to fill the void when Partey's gone. And El Neni, he looks like he can have a couple good performances, but I still feel like when it's the high pressure games, you put El Neni in.
It's the drop off in quality kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's I think that's what a lot of like Europa League level clubs seem to have, in it, even like, for example, with United.
Yeah.
So you're saying
the way they
need a
folded
versatile
last
forward,
year.
a midfielder. And what do you think about the right back shout then?
I think they need a right back as well. I think they need a right back for sure. But I feel like with Ben White playing there, he's played at right back before. So
has Ben White also not played holding midfielder?
For Brighton, not for Arsenal. So Ben White, I feel like the good thing about Ben White in that respect is that he is quite comfy on the ball, so he can give them similar to what they were getting with Tomiyasu on that side as well. So I feel like if you're saying Ben White as the backup right back, then fair enough. I feel like that's calm. But one injury to your centre backs, if Gabriel's out for a couple of weeks, you lose Ben White as an option at right back. But then I guess they will say maybe Tomiyasu might be back. But I think long term, there definitely needs to be a solution there. Whether it's to promote my man, the kid that just signed a new contract, Norton Cuffy.
I'll be honest, I don't think he's ready yet. I think he needs one more loan, because I watched him in the under 19 Euros. I think it was the under 19 Euros, isn't it? I still feel like he needs a bit more work in it. Like technically, I think was it in the semi-final. I think it was his heavy touch that led to a penalty. I think it was, in it, that he gave away.
Yeah,
so I still feel like he's a bit raw.
Yeah, I'm not saying he should come into the team now. I'm saying they need a long-term strategy at right back, because Cedric ain't cutting it. He's crap. He's absolutely crap. So yeah, for now, I feel like they'll say Ben White is there to cover. So
this is interesting. No one mentioned the Xhaka position.
I think.
What do you think about Xhaka?
No, that position definitely needs upgrading. I'm just looking at which position in their midfield was the absence felt more, and that was Thomas Partey's. Yeah, Xhaka goes without saying. This is why I say to Arsenal fans all the time, I don't think they've done enough in the window, in my opinion. I think they needed, in my honest opinion, I felt they needed 2 midfielders this summer, and I think both were one to be able cover and rotation option with Partey, and one to dislodge Xhaka. I didn't actually feel they needed what's it called, Fabio Vieira. And when they signed him, I thought, okay, wow, he's probably your option at the left 8, but I've been told he's going to be playing 10 and competing with Odegaard. So I thought long term that was where they wanted ESR to sort of drop into and play centrally. But I don't know. I don't know what the plan is with Arsenal long term.
I think it gives them a bit more versatility, especially with the Europa League. Because that's what one thing we've always said here. Arsenal, I think even last year, everyone kept saying the starting 11 is fine, isn't it? But then when they drop off, the drop off in terms of, for example, Cedric coming in, if Partey gets injured, or like El Neni coming in, the drop off is quite big, isn't it? Nuno Tavares last year at left back. I think that's the biggest problem with Arsenal. But someone also did say Zinchenko can also fill in the left 8 row as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he can. He's a CM, but come on, you've not. How many games have you seen Zinchenko play Premier League for you to say that? Like, come on, his best work has been done from left back, and that's where they're playing him now, left back.
But the thing is, that, like in terms of the positions that he does pick up, he is very like central based, and I still think he'll be fine in
He is.
midfield and Premier League.
He is, but in my eyes, I thought they wanted a left 8 who could be a bit more incisive and score more goals than Granit Xhaka. Like they wanted a left 8 who helps quicken their play, and they wanted a left 8 who starts contributing to the goals because they're essentially attacking with 5 players. The fullbacks tuck in with Partey, so then that means Xhaka is automatically now part of the attack. And if he's part of the attack, I'm sorry, with all due respect, you want a much better player who is way more decisive in those positions. And I think Tielemans is way better than Xhaka in that respect. His passing is sharper. He takes way more risk with his passing, and we don't even need to listen. Granit Xhaka's got a good strike on him, but when it comes to shooting and goal scoring, there's no competition between him and Tielemans.
Big up Roms as well. He said smash the like buttons. Hope he's good. Next team, Chelsea.
Bruh, they need.
I've got a name.
They need Bear, man.
I've got a name. I don't know how you feel about this player, but I'm going to mention it. Wilfried Zaha.
I think
1 year left on his deal. He's shown in the Premier League reliable 10 goals minimum. That 1v1 aspect in terms of he can carry the ball. I think Chelsea lack that. He's direct. Chelsea lack that in that forward areas.
You know what it is with Wolf? He is a good player and he brings all those things to Chelsea. And I'm certainly playing Wolf left wing instead of Pulisic, instead of Callum Hudson-Odoi, instead of Kai Havertz there. But I feel like Wolf is going to be 30 years old. I feel like this move might have come too soon. I mean, too late in the day for Wolf. If Chelsea are adding another attacker, in my opinion, to play out wide, then it's got to be someone I feel like that's on a similar level to someone like Raheem Sterling, in my opinion.
Did you say Sane?
They should go all out for Sane, yeah.
But the reason I said Zaha, yeah, I think, you know, as the window goes on kind of thing, you're going to be struggling to get the better players kind of thing, isn't it? Wilfried Zaha, 1 year left in his contract. I think they can make that deal possible.
They could, but my thing is...
Obviously, they have that option in terms of playing Zaha up top as well, because he's shown that in the past. If
but my thing with that is they've got the money to sign better players than Zaha. Like, Zaha would be good. I think he would do well at Chelsea, but I feel like they have enough resources where they can get better than Wilfried Zaha. They can get someone who's guaranteeing them the goals they need and the creativity. So, Zaha's good. I think if I saw Zaha to Chelsea, I think that's a good signing for Chelsea, but I just think they can make better signings.
What else do you think they need then?
I think they need another centre-back option for sure, which is why they're going for Fofana. They definitely need an established first-choice right centre-back. I think they need another midfielder. I've been saying this for ages. I feel like since they lost Cesc Fabregas, they've got no one in that midfield who can help them quicken their play with the passing. I feel like Jorginho, he is a good passer, but his passing is nowhere near as incisive as Cesc. Cesc, he goes for the jugular. And he's not a low volume passer. He can keep the game. He can do Jorginho's role to keep the game ticking, and he can split your defense in two. And I think Chelsea have missed that type of midfielder in their team, especially now with a 3-4-3 when there's more emphasis on your midfielders and your wing backs to provide that thrust. I think they need a midfielder like that. I think Kovacic and Kante, they're really good at breaking lines through their dribbling. They can take the ball from A to B. Yeah. And I think Kovacic can play those threaded final balls here and there, but like he's not an expert at it, and neither is Kante. I feel like Chelsea are missing that key component, that Arsenal in their that weapon, in their midfield, man. So I think they need that. So we said attacker, centre back, midfielder. Obviously, right wing back is. I would have said they needed cover at right wing back, but obviously, Azpilicueta signed a new deal. He can cover at right centre back and right wing back. So, yeah.
You think that's enough though, in terms of Azpilicueta's quality? Because we know Reece James did pick up a couple injuries last year. I don't think Azpilicueta is as good as a wing back. I think right centre back he can do a job, but I think you know how important the Chelsea wing backs are to that system.
Yeah. It's a drop off. So they're not going to address all of their issues in one window. So I think they're going to have to hold it with that one. Like, we know that when Reece James is out of the team, they're just going to have to struggle if Azpilicueta plays, because he's not going to give you the same thrust or quality as Reece James. But I guess that's why they're trialing the likes of Loftus-Cheek there and all these other players. They're trying to see what solutions they can find, because Aspi, he just ain't it when he's asked to play that wing-back role.
Sometimes when the draft will be back soon. Don't worry. I still think Chelsea need a striker, though. I'll be honest. That's another thing we haven't mentioned. Because say what you want here, Gabriel Jesus guarantees you goals. Harry Kane for you lot. Ronaldo for us, even though I don't think we're going to be competing with top 4. And then obviously City, Liverpool are fine.
I think with the striker thing though, it's like they've been burnt with strikers now. Like, they've gone balls deep on 2 strikers in the past couple of years, and it's just gone to tatters. And it's not to say that they shouldn't sign another striker in the future. I think they should, but right now, I feel like there needs to be a greater emphasis on spreading the load throughout their team and not just looking for one of the attackers to be the guy who's going to score the bucket loads of goals. And I think with Raheem Sterling on one side, if the team is functioning well, he's hitting double figures. If they can get someone on the other side who can hit like double figures as well and can bring the creative elements that Raheem Sterling can bring, the chance creation, you tick off 2 issues with Chelsea's team and attack in one go. And then the money that they invested on Shai Havertz, I've been telling people that this guy, I put him on.
I knew you were coming on to that.
Yeah, I have to. I've put him on blast. I mean, like, no striker means that he's given more of a platform, and so is Broja. Like, these guys need to play. Kai Havertz needs to start justifying his price tag. And let's be real, in this team, in this current setup, his best position is a false 9. So it's counterproductive for me in Chelsea bringing in another forward when you ain't even locked down your options on the flank. So I would prioritize that 2-way attacker or 2-way forward who potentially can play centrally, but predominantly plays out wide and does the business.
Memphis Depay.
Yeah, Memphis would be a great signing for Chelsea.
No, like Memphis Depay would actually suit a couple of teams.
Memphis would be a really good signing for Chelsea.
But say Kai Havertz is the main guy up top, how many goals do you think he should be getting?
He should be getting, I think he should be aiming for 15 goals, league goals.
Do you think he gets that?
No.
How many goals do you think he gets?
Boy, I think he'll do well to get 10. But I think he'll end up on what he has ended up on in seasons gone by. You know what? Maybe I reckon 9 or 10 league goals I think he'll get.
I said this here, like, you know what the false 9 thing? It's fine if you're going to give me all that link-up play and stuff, innit? But you see your 2 wide men, they have to be elite levels in my eyes. Mane, Salah.
But this is my point. This is my point. If you're going to play Kai Havertz false 9, I need to see better caliber on the wide. And you've got one inside in Sterling. You need to get the other side. Because he is going to play false 9.
Yeah. But what do you think about Broja then? As a player?
I like Broja. I think he's good. I think he's still raw, but I like him. I feel like he's a good option for them to have. And I think he will definitely weigh in with a couple of goals this season. I think he's aggressive. He's good for a front-footed approach. I think he's good at pressing. I think he enjoys like physical duels. I think he's fast. I think there are other parts of his game that needs work, but I like Broja. I think having Broja in their squad is definitely gonna. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all.
Interesting. Next team, Liverpool, innit? This could be an interesting one.
Obvious with Liverpool. They need midfielders, bro. They need midfielders.
What sort of midfielder? Because initially, going into the season, I thought you see someone like Christian Eriksen available on the free. I thought that could have been a brilliant signing for Liverpool. Adding a bit more creativity into the park. But now I'm thinking about it like I don't know what you think about Fabinho, but I think there has to be like a conversation of Fabinho because I don't think Fabinho's been good enough or he hasn't reached the same levels that he was at before.
Definitely. I think his level definitely dipped last season. Like I think him and Rodri are still the top 2, but I think his level definitely dipped last year. Like he would have good games, but he would have very, very suspect games where he'd just be torn apart, man. Like he just couldn't cope. And I feel like he needs to pattern up, but they have Jordan Henderson there who plays as a six, as well. But I feel like I think they need two midfielders. I think they need one on the left side, one on the right side. And I think the one on the left side, should be able to give them the sort of progressive quality that Thiago has. Yeah. I think the other midfielder needs to be a bit more final third focused, a bit more goal orientated, goals and assists, etc., etc. I know obviously they've got Harvey Elliott who plays on that right. I felt like if they had Harvey Elliott supplemented with a certified like right CM option, and they had Fabinho and Henderson as the 6 options, and they had Thiago and the certified left centre midfield option, then I think that beefs up their team and takes them to another level. Because now when Thiago's out of the team, Naby Keita is still injury prone as well. And who do they revert to? They're going to have to play James Milner there. And listen, I love James Milner as a player. I know he's mass work in this league. He's got all my respect, but he simply cannot do the job that Thiago does in that team. So
I'll be honest, I like Naby Keita though, you know. Like I know people are mixed on Naby Keita, but when I watched him last year for Liverpool, I thought that was it. Like that's the best we've seen in Naby Keita for a very long time. And I think
that's the problem with Naby though. Injuries all the time. Yeah. And it's the same box injuries. Liverpool need to refresh that midfield, man.
Like, don't get me wrong, they need to refresh it. But I think if, for example, Thiago plays and Naby Keita is at the backup to Thiago, I think that's how you use them, kind of thing, isn't it? Just because
that makes sense.
You can't have both.
Them are injury prone.
You can't have both Kate and Thiago injured. I was thinking this. Milinkovic Savic.
I think he'd be great for Liverpool.
Physicality-wise, he has it. He has the goals. He has the assists. The late runs into the box.
Would they sign him at 28 years old though?
Yeah, that's a different question, isn't it? But I'm just saying, like a player of that ilk, I think could work for them.
I think he'd be good. I think you put him in a 3-8 role. Yeah. I know everyone, Jurgen Klopp, he needs his team to work. And I think Milinkovic Savic, I feel like he might not have the same sort of intensity that Jurgen Klopp demands for his midfielders. But I think Klopp can work with that, man. And I think the quality that he offers would be an option there as well. Gallagher is another one. Gallagher, I think, physically fits what Klopp wants from his midfielders. He's very press-orientated midfielder. Like he doesn't stop running, and I think he's someone who can link up to a decent standard with the attack, and he's good in and around the box in terms of his shooting. But I don't know if I feel like Liverpool should go for a higher caliber of midfielder, someone who is comfortable also playing as a midfielder. Like, do you know what I mean by that? I mean, like Gallagher, he's a midfielder in it, but like someone who's comfortable having the ball, keeping the ball, recycling the ball as well. And I feel like SMS is way better in possession than Gallagher. Way better.
I think Liverpool are an interesting one because I do feel like I've always said this here, and I keep saying this. I don't feel like, Liverpool's midfield, how it is now to how it was initially under Klopp, I think it's changed massively, kind of thing, innit? Like, even like their style of football, like Jurgen Klopp when he first came in, that heavy metal football, I don't think Liverpool played a heavy metal football like they did before, kind of thing. And I know they
can switch it up. They can switch it.
Yeah. But I think at Liverpool's like technical level as a team has been rising, the likes of Thiago coming in. I like Fabio Carvalho. I want to see what he can do in the midfield role. That's why I'll be honest.
Is he going to play midfield? Because I thought he was going to be used as an option out wide.
Yeah, he could be, but I think like he could also play in midfield as well, innit? Because I
forgot about him. You're right. But I feel like with him, he's young again. Him and Elliott, they're young, so like it's a lot of responsibility to say you're going to be our starting option in that right central midfield role.
This is a good point as well in terms of Harvey Elliott. Even when he came on the other day, you can see how comfortable he's going into the wider areas and stuff, innit? Like I thought, I know Nunes probably was Liverpool's standout player that day when he came on, but I thought Harvey Elliott changed it massively. I know people don't like him because of his personality and stuff, innit? But I think he's a very, very decent player on the right hand side. And obviously, he was unlucky with last year with injury and stuff.
But again, there's a fly here. I think he's a good talent for sure, but again, is he the one that they want to have playing 30 out of 38 games? I feel like he should be the understudy to someone.
Yeah. But maybe you see how he develops this year, innit? Someone said that no one is talking about the front line. If Jota is kind of centre forward, we have no backups with Salah and Diaz. That's a good point, especially on the right hand side. I can't think of anyone now. If Salah's out, obviously Harvey Elliott can play on the right.
With Salah, I thought Harvey Elliott was meant to be the right wing option. That's what I thought.
You think they need another forward then?
Pardon?
You think Liverpool need another forward?
Nah, not right now. I think they got Salah, Firmino, Nunes, Diaz, Jota. Like they got enough options there, and then they got Carvalho and Elliott. I don't think they need another attacker.
Because they've like tentatively been linked with Anthony and stuff at times, isn't it? This window.
Nah, man. I don't think they need him personally.
But I think Anthony also has a work rate and stuff as well. And this is a good point. Salah never misses games. Like his ability to stay like injury free, incredible. Say the same thing about Bruno. Like, how do these players stay injury free like this to this extent? Incredible, man. People have to.
Salah's a tank.
Yeah, praise him for that. And yeah, someone did say Carvalho will be a backup for Diaz. That's fine, isn't it? Like I think on the left hand side is fine. I think on the right hand side, obviously, you might be able to want one more, but let's be honest. You said it right there. Salah's never injured. Inhaler attacks. No comment. Next team, Manchester City.
They got quite a few moving pieces, isn't it? The fullback is the one that screams out to me. Even this Sergio Gomez guy, I don't know how good he is, but I think they definitely need a fullback, a good fullback as well. Ideally, a left back, and I think they need. It depends. If Bernardo Silva leaves, I feel like they need another midfielder because then that would be what? Phillips, Rodri, Kevin.
He's out by the way for the weekend, I think.
So let's go through their midfield options now. So Phillips, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, Rodri, Bernardo. Those are the 5 options that play centrally. If they lose Bernardo, they have to bring one more in. And then let's look at their attacking options. They have Mahrez, Foden, Grealish,
Alvarez,
Haaland. That's 5. I feel like for the way... listen, it looks like Pep Guardiola is going to change the way they play and the way they use their wingers. But I still feel like they needed more of a cutthroat presence on the flanks.
Well, like more PMP, make the runs in behind.
Yeah. I feel like they needed someone like that.
I agree. I don't know, man. When I look at City, like doesn't this City team just look a bit weak to you compared to other years? Like, I feel like they're missing a profile player, for example, in terms of, like you said, the winger that can run in behind. Obviously, in that forward area, they got Erling Haaland that can make the runs in behind. We saw it the other day against West Ham.
Yeah.
But I still feel like they're missing a midfielder. Left back, they're missing. Because I still got question marks over Cancelo and Grealish on the same side, didn't it?
Yeah, this is it, because it's like Jack Grealish wants the ball to feet all the time. So he needs someone who's gonna constantly overlap. And I don't know, like with Cancelo on that left hand side, he's always gonna have the tendency to come on his right foot. So I think they need that's why Cucurella would have been perfect for them, because he literally stretches. There's no one on that side who's actually stretching the pitch for Man City, and I think Cucurella would be perfect because he would be the perfect guy to overlap. But I think with Man City, I don't think they're weaker. Sorry, tell a lie. Let me rephrase. I don't think they're weaker as a team, but I think they're weaker in terms of the different types of profiles they have.
Yeah,
I feel like there was a lot more variety to Man City's attack. Now I feel like it's all to, one is largely to serve Haaland, and 2, I feel like the days where Man City have the in behind threats on either side, they have the wingers scoring 15, 16, 17 league goals. I'm not sure we're going to have that this season. Well, we need to wait and see what Alvarez can do, because I don't really know much about him. And from what I've read, he looks like he can be a good player for them. And he's obviously going to play out wide at times. But I just feel like Riyad Mahrez, I feel like he's going to be 31 years old now. I know he's signed a new deal. He's a baller. He's a quality player. But again, we know he wants the ball to feet. Jack Grealish, we need a step up from you. They've lost, whether Man City fans like it or not. Yeah, his form deteriorated, etc., etc. They had in Raheem Sterling an attacker that was guaranteeing them around 13, 14 league goals as a minimum, and as a maximum, he was getting close to 20. You're losing that now, and you've gained Erling Haaland, who's going to score you probably that amount through the middle. But out wide, Jack Grealish, you better be ready to get an uplift on your numbers. Phil Foden, if you're going to play on the right-hand side, we need to see better, because I personally have the opinion that Phil Foden last season, I thought he was average. I thought he had a couple of good games, but I thought he had a couple of games where he was just anonymous. And I don't think he's that good on the right-hand side. I think you see the Phil Foden that we know and love when he's doing his dirt on the left-hand side, or he's playing in central areas. So I feel like in that respect, there's been some variety that's been lost. But in terms of potency, I still think they're there. It may take a little bit longer, but in terms of their build-up, but they're still strong, man. They're still strong.
What do you think about Grealish now going into this year? Because I'll be honest, I backed Grealish last year and I said this year he has to come good, innit?
He has to.
He better come good.
He has to come good.
Spending that amount of money, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't know how he comes good with Cancelo down that side. Midfield, you're not displaced. Who are you displacing in midfield? You're not better than Bernardo Silva and you're not better than Kevin De Bruyne. So I'm like, where?
Listen, I think like on the big six, I'm known for, because this season I've demanded more from Grealish. Everyone thinks I have an agenda against Grealish. I don't. I'm demanding more because he's a quality player, and like the performances I've seen do not reflect the caliber of player that Man City overpaid for, in my opinion, by like 20 odd million. But that's not the conversation. The guy's a quality player. And when I'm seeing the performances he's putting in, I think Cancelo or no Cancelo, he has a base level that he needs to be hitting. I think he's going to, like, before I even talk about stats, I'm talking about general performances, making your impact known. Yes, we know that you're not going to have as much of the ball for Man City as you did for Aston Villa, but when you have the ball, be impactful.
I remember West Ham last year away, I think it was in the second half.
Bro, he went brazy. Forget about the goal. Yeah. He went brazy. Like, getting the ball, trying to kill, like the Jack Grealish that I know, forget about the goals and assists. I'm talking about committing players. When you have the ball, you're thinking, how can I kill the opposition? I get the ball, I can jinx past 2 or 3, I can give it to someone else. I can make a run that hurts the opposition. When I see Jack Grealish now, he's way too passive. He's way too passive, bro.
I think people will say he's doing a role for the City side, but at the same time,
I think they say that, but I think that truthfully, Man City fans are using that as a way to shield Jack Grealish from criticism.
Like, you know what it is? City, I'm not going to say they're lucky to win the league, but if they weren't winning the league, and for example, say Liverpool won it, the pressure would have been on Grealish. That's when everyone would have been looking at him kind of thing, if they were second. Bro. But
it's going well now, so that's why they because they're winning in spite of Jack Grealish not playing at his usual level. So it's calm. But let's say if it goes belly up this season and he's playing the same way he's played last season, this season, I promise you the narrative will be different. I promise you. I promise you the narrative will be different.
Some said there were a lot of rumors to the end of last season that Pep wanted to play Jack in midfield, and that's why I'm really surprised they haven't signed a wing, especially with Raheem leaving. I think even when Pep signed him, I think Big Steve was saying that the initial plan was to play him in midfield because they thought Bernardo Silva would have left, innit?
I thought that as well. I thought long-term solution to like maybe the likes of like a KDB or Gundogan or whatever. But Jack Grealish has mashed most of his work on the left-hand side in the Premier League. So
you're not Gundogan. You think eventually like City need another midfielder because he's 31 now? I think he's 32 soon.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's 31, yeah. He's a baller though, man.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think he's a quality player, but
He's a baller.
I think even like before this summer, was he not linked with a move away?
He was apparently. I think he wanted to leave, but I think he's staying there this
Mm.
season.
And the only reason I say that is because City are very good at once, for example, a player needs replacing, they normally bring in that player in the year before in it, so they can settle in.
Yeah.
And with that Gundogan thing, eventually they're gonna have to replace him because obviously he's aging and stuff. Even though I still think he can do a job, especially now he's not a first choice. Let's be honest, it's Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne. So I do think eventually he could. Like they need to be looking at another midfielder, and they probably are. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, they've been linked to midfielders. I've heard Verratti, I've heard De Jong, and
They ain't getting
even now today, I don't watch him play, but I'm hearing this Matthias Nunes guy apparently linked with City.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, Matheus Nunes, he's been linked to a couple clubs in Liverpool as well.
What's he saying? Is he good?
I haven't watched much of him, I'll be honest. But there's certain attributes, for example, his ball carrying ability is very, very good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bellingham's also been linked to as well, isn't it? Next summer potentially.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
I'll be honest here. I like Bellingham, yeah, but you know for the report like 90, 100 million.
He's not worth it, bro.
But he's English, innit? That's where he has that benefit.
Ridiculous. Like I rate Jude Bellingham a lot, but he's not £100 million midfielder. He's not. He's not as good. He's not as good as people gas him up to be. Like he's just a really good. In fact, he's a quality talent. But for that money, you're talking elite caliber midfielder. He's not that yet, and I don't think he will be that in 2 years' time.
And the thing is Carl Menix is still young, but I still think on the ball, still want a bit more for Bellingham in terms of maybe like progressive passes and stuff. But
facts. You're literally singing from the same hymn sheet.
I like him, but still want a bit more. As I keep saying, the biggest talent in Germany is Jamal Musiala, but that's a conversation for another day.
He's cold, bro. He's the big, by distance. By distance, it's not even a competition. Now that Haaland's gone, England, Musiala is a joke. He's a joke. He's the best young player in Germany by distance, and one of the best young players in the world.
He is the best young player in the world.
How old is he now?
19, 20. Like I said this, I think he's better than Foden.
Yeah, for me, he's better than Foden. Yeah, he is.
He's 19, quality, man. And don't get me wrong, I have a lot of like Bayern Munich bias and stuff, innit? But I still think
I don't even have bias. He's quality, bro. I have no reason to be biased towards Musiala. He is fucking quality. Midfield, cam, left wing, wherever they play this guy, he makes his presence felt, man. He's a baller, bro. He's an absolute baller.
And someone said Chelsea was stupid to let go of him. The thing is, I was thinking about this the other day, yeah. Say if you're still at Chelsea, there's still a question mark if you would have got lost in the loan system.
I think he might have.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, you expect a player that good to eventually get his breakthrough, but you never know with Chelsea. Like for example, you know that Carney guy from Villa that joined? I don't know how you say his second name here, but I'll be honest, I think that's a very interesting move for him. I'll be honest, because I rate him very highly, but he complained to Aston Villa that he weren't getting enough game time.
So why have you gone to Chelsea?
Exactly, because I think Bristol Dortmund were linked with him, innit? And don't get me wrong, I know someone told me that United also wanted him, innit, but the wages that he wanted were too expensive and stuff, and that was probably what Chelsea offered. But for your overall career, if you moaned at Aston Villa, surely you go to someone like Bristol Dortmund if you're interested.
100%, but I guess he wants to play for, it's the name, the appeal of Chelsea, and they must have sold him a dream, right? Because they've obviously Chelsea have gone through. They're going through I was reading
100K.
I was reading an article the other day. They've got a drive this summer to bring in a lot of young talent as well as additions into the first team. And when you look at him, I'm like, bruv, surely you go somewhere where you can actually play minutes, but you never know. I don't know what's been said to him in private or what the pathway is like for him in the future. But I just feel like midfield is the most congested position for Chelsea, and you've just signed for them in that position. You got players like Conor Gallagher who are trying to get into that team, and you're basically trying to follow a similar path to him. And it's like, I don't know, man.
Now, don't get me wrong, I rate him very highly, and when I watched him in the under-19 Euros, for example, one of England's best players and stuff, innit? But still, like, it's a weird move, innit? Like, it's a weird move, but listen, wish him all the best.
I agree, it's a weird move. I saw it. I was thinking, why the hell has he gone to Chelsea?
And it came out of nowhere as well, innit?
Yeah.
But listen, fair play. Like someone said it before, like, would you rather cry in a bus or would you cry in a Lambo? That's basically what he's gonna do now, cry in a
Yeah,
Lambo because the
100 bags a
money,
week, fair enough. If it's 100 bags a week, take it.
yeah,
Big
like the
man thing,
money is
take it.
crazy. The money is crazy. Next
And
team,
take it and back yourself to try and make enough of an impression that you force your way in, like Mason Mount.
yeah, like don't get me wrong, I hope it works out because don't get me wrong, I always have a bias towards like younger players and stuff, innit? I really want homegrown players to come through, but let's see in it. Next team, United, flipping ill
Bruh, where do we start?
everywhere.
Everywhere, bro. Right back, probably another centre back, at least 2 more midfielders, at least 1 more forward, at least 1 striker, at least 1 more goalkeeper. Like, there's so much work that needs to be done at Man United. The biggest is the midfield. The midfield is horrible. Like, you don't have any CMs capable of recycling this ball and playing progressive football. We spoke about your midfield in the past. I feel like Fred is a decent option to have as a squad player. I feel like there are qualities that Fred has that you can use as a squad player. If you put him next to someone who's going to be doing the tempo setting, who's going to be playing more adventurous passes, who is just a better technician. Instead, you have McTominay and Fred. You have in McTominay a midfielder who literally can't even get a 90% accuracy playing lateral passes. You have Fred, who is up and down in his form, very, very volatile in his form. When he's good, he's really good. When he's bad, he's fucking garbage. And from time I'm seeing you guys play Ericsson as your 6, you are fucking mudded. You're absolutely mudded beyond belief.
What do you think about Rabiot?
I think Rabiot is better than
A lot of people keep doing this Rabiot Bentancur comparison.
No, Rabiot he's better than McFred, but I feel like Rabiot, when I've actually watched Juventus play, he's not really adding much to their midfield. And I think it's completely different to Bentancur, who sort of fell out of favor with the manager, and was asked to do a different job to the job he was doing when he was at his best. Rabiot isn't a 6. He's not going to sit and sweep and control the game. He's not a controller. He's an 8, but he's an 8 who was meant to. When I liked Rabiot, there was a time when I wanted Rabiot at Spurs because he looked a competent passer and he looked like a good ball carrier. When the issue permitted, he could carry the ball and get involved in the attack. I remember PSG v Real Madrid. I'm not sure if you remember it. It was the game at the Bernabeu years back, and I think it was Lo Celso who gave away a penalty for Real Madrid, but Rabiot played that game. Neymar, I think he got injured, but Rabiot was sick. He was class in that game. He was beating the press and taking PSG up the pitch. But I just feel like Rabiot coming in, I don't think it's a horrible signing. I don't actually think it's a horrible signing, but it does. I think it gives you a marginal uplift on your current position now, where I think you need a major uplift in that midfield. You need a midfielder who is leaps and bounds better than what you have right now. That's it.
Now, I said, don't get me wrong, he improves us here, but by how much? And I said this, like, for example, if Rabiot was like 23, 24, you're a bit more willing to take that risk because he's a bit more coachable still, isn't it? We're talking about Rabiot right now, he's 27, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then when you think of the circus that he comes with his mom, how much you're going to have to pay him in wages, you're probably going to lock him down to a 4 or 5 year contract. And then in 2-3 years time, when you want to upgrade him, it'll be hard to shift because it's like, who wants to take Rabiot on this money? It's like, is this worth it for the caliber of player? Is it worth inviting all of these factors for the caliber of player?
I'll be honest, I thought of the name Benacer. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think we'll get him.
Isn't he injury prone? I don't think Milan are going to sell him.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He's been playing in pre-season because now obviously they lost Kessie. It's probably going to be Tonali and Benacer in the midfield, isn't it? But listen, Bernard in terms of progressive passes, he's carrying off the ball, pressures off the ball in terms of him off the ball and stuff, tackles, interceptions. I think that could be a decent signing in that connector role that Ten Hag likes to say.
Have they not signed a midfielder yet? Because I know they were looking at Zielinski, because they obviously need to replace Kessie.
I'm not too sure. I don't think they have that at this point. I might be wrong. If someone in the chat could let us know, innit?
Yeah, I'll double check that.
Someone said Tonali's injured right now as well. I saw Tonali linked with Arsenal as well. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
It will never happen. They're not going to sell him.
Someone said we have a baller called Ender Belling that's going to give us 20 million and take him better. I think he's going Napoli in it. I saw Sky Sports just before I went
Napoli interested. I'm happy for him to go there, man. I feel like I want to see what he can do in that league. Let's see.
Someone said problem with United is the club don't have the player it had in the past. Yeah, I said that before. Like we just need to humble ourselves, kind of thing, innit? Like we're not that club to try better plays, but I still think you can get better than Rabiot.
Yeah,
like
100%.
It's not that hard. And even for example, I said this: even if you're getting a worse player than Rabiot, but he's a younger, I'm fine with it because at least then you can see a bit of growth, kind of thing, innit?
My thing though is there are better players than Rabiot in the Prem.
Like
Ruben Neves. Go sign Ruben Neves.
Price, innit?
That's pay the money.
But we know United won't.
I think Neves is overgassed, but he's a good player, and he can pass, he can shoot, he can pull, he can, and he's got the work rate, the defensive work rate as well. There are midfielders in the Prem who can improve Man United. There are midfielders in other leagues who can improve Man United as well. Look at Renato Sanchez, who just went to PSG. Yeah, he's injury prone, but similar price you paid for fucking Rabiot. Is he not worth the risk? I don't get it.
There's a couple ones like Fofana, for example. This Fofana that's off of Monaco the other day.
Seko Fofana.
I think it's like Yusuf Fofana, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
That's his name. And I watched him the other day. Who did they play? PSV. Looked very good. You got Kone at Borussia Mönchengladbach. A Rav recommendation, funnily enough. Who's not too bad. Watched him against Bayern Munich a couple of times last year. Bossed it. And then someone said it here, Tielemans. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a massive Tielemans fan, but still, what he offers something that United massively lack in terms of that ball progression kind of thing in the midfield.
Bro, Tielemans is automatic with ball progression, like one touch, two touch. You give the ball to Tielemans, and he's about to be pressed, and he can still make the pass. Of course, there are games when the more high intense games you can sort of press Tielemans out of a game, like you can. We've seen him be underwhelming in those type of games, but a normal Yuri Tielemans, he's slicing your team. He's the guy who makes the passes before the assist. He's the guy that can even make the assists himself. And in and around the box, you don't want this guy on the ball. You do not want Tielemans on the ball in and around the box because he's going to work your goalkeeper with both feet. I think he gets disrespected massively. He's a good player. He's a good player, and I don't really get why. I feel like people
I think he's off the ball.
People look at the fact that he's unathletic. Okay, so what? He still works hard.
But the problem is
he still gets around the pitch.
See, off the ball, it's kind of like United like that massively kind of thing, isn't it? So it's not even like us on the transition is incredible. Like we're just so crap. We're one of the worst sides in the league, man.
Yeah, 100.
Which is why
you don't just sign Tielemans by himself. If you're playing Tielemans in your team, then you should know the players that you're that you're dealing with, and you should cater for his strengths. And you bring in another midfielder you bring in another midfielder who does the things he can't do.
But that's the problem with United. Like, are we going to get that secondary midfielder in? But I wanted to talk about Rashford to PSG quickly. I'll be honest, I will let him go. Like, don't get me wrong, I think this is a power play by like his agency and stuff to get a better contract from United because I think he has a year left. United have an option for another year. But I feel like this benefits both parties.
If I was Rashford, I would be pushing to go myself. Bro, you get to play with Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. You're going up a couple levels. You're going to a team who are guaranteed Champions League football. You're living in Paris. Okay, I think Paris is overrated, but it's better than Manchester. And you know that the expectation is for this team to compete for the very best of honors in Europe. Like, why wouldn't you want to put yourself in that environment? And why wouldn't you want
Homegrown
to take yourself
academy player
away
kind
from
of
the
thing.
environment in England? Take yourself away from the spotlight in England. It
Do
gives you a
you-
better opportunity to get back into the England team. If I'm Marcus Rashford, I know obviously the deal is not happening. We know Ten Hag has shut it down, but I would be pushing for that move all day long. All day long.
I got a question. Do you see similarities between Rashford and Dele Alli as a Tottenham fan? Like, you could argue they were the guys at one point, slowly started to decline.
I see it. I see why you would say it, because I think it's an appropriate comparison because both were star boys at their clubs and they've hit a rut, because Marcus Rashford's been playing bad for coming up to like 2 years now. So I can see why the comparison is there, but you just expect that with Rashford, like, he will come out of this slump more so than a Dele. I feel like Dele couldn't adapt his game. I don't know with Rashford. You tell me you're
But
Man
do you
United.
think Rashford is struggling, like, with all the pressure that comes alongside with what he's done as well?
Yeah, I think
And
he's
that's what I
set
say,
his,
like, maybe he needs to leave this British media thing, come out the country. You're still going to an elite club in Europe, and just see if you can revamp your career there.
this is what I said. I think with Marcus Rashford, I feel like the difference between him and Dele is I feel like Dele actually took his foot off the ball. Like, he got complacent, like he relaxed. He didn't strive to continue improving. He didn't diversify himself with the managers that came in. He didn't make himself useful for our squad. I feel like with Marcus Rashford, I feel like with him, I do see that determination in him to get himself out of this rut. But I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't pick PSG. Like, if I'm him, a change of scenery could do you the world of good. Look at the players in the past. Look at Lukaku, for instance. I know he didn't bang at Chelsea, but he couldn't hack the pressure at United. Of course, he went to a much weaker league, but it built up his confidence. And whether people like it or not, I think there were aspects of Lukaku's game that did improve. So Marcus Rashford, by default, playing with better players, playing in a different environment, yeah, it could get different results.
Fairs. I think that's the perfect segue on to Tottenham. What do you think Tottenham needs? Because in my eyes, Tottenham are lacking that one elite centre back. Probably could do with another creative midfielder, but that centre back maybe. I don't know how you feel about Pau Torres, for example, on the left hand side.
We're definitely lacking centre back. We need another, like a 30 centre back. We need another centre back similar to Romero's level on the left hand side. We need another right wing back, but we've got 3 at the moment. Obviously, we're not going to do that in this window, but ideally next season, I don't want to see Emerson and Doherty at the club. At least one of them needs to go. Left wing back, I don't rate Cess, but the club are investing the future in Cess, and he looks like he has the capacity to improve. So I'm going to see how he performs this season. I think last year he finished strong. His last 4 games for us, he was good. And this season he started off well. If he can give me performances like Southampton for pretty much this whole season, my opinion on Cess will change. And of course, we're signing Destiny Udoji as well. So from what I've read, he looks really good. So I think that leaves our midfield. I think when you look at our midfield, we've got Bentancur, Basuma, Højbjerg, Skip, Lo Celso, Endom, and Pape Matar Sarr, and Harry Winks. Harry Winks is going to be sold or go out on loan. Lo Celso is literally on his way to Villarreal now on loan with an option to buy. Ndombele is most likely heading to Napoli, as we've discussed. Pape Matar Sarr is 19 years old and still needs regular game time and still needs to build up some muscle. So I feel like it's a lot asking for him to be part of our campaign this season, but I do think he has the technical quality that I want in a midfielder for him to give us a little something in cup matches or even in league campaigns. but I would much rather prefer at this stage of his career that he gets regular game time. So let's just say all 4 of those midfielders go out on loan. That leaves us with 4. I'm of the opinion that a team that wants to stretch themselves thin across all competitions need 5 midfielders as a standard. If you can have 6, that's a bonus. But 5 as a standard, you need 5. So I think we're missing one more midfielder, and that midfielder, profile-wise, is what you mentioned. I feel like that midfielder we're missing is someone who can affect the games more in the final third. Someone who can break more lines with their passing than our current midfielders do on a more frequent basis. Someone who is not afraid to have a pop-up goal more so than our current midfielders. Someone who gives us a little something different but can fit into the Conte way of playing in terms of the off-the-ball stuff. So I think we're missing that. And then, of course, if we're talking about perfect team, I can't have Lucas Moura in my team. He's rubbish. He's crap. I know we're not going to do anything about that this season. The club are going to keep him. Conte likes him, so that's fine. I'm not complaining. But if we're talking
Did
about
Conte not say something about him playing in that right wing back role as well?
Yeah, he's been tried at right wing back. So I think he'll play there or right wing a couple of times this season. Hopefully not too much. But I feel like if we're talking about what positions we need to make ourselves 100% complete, I feel like we need a better option or better competition for Kulusevski on that right-hand side. And I know Richarlison is an option on the right-hand side, of course, but I imagine he'll be playing more games centrally or off the left. So I still feel like to make our attack even better than it currently is right now, because it is quite strong, I feel like that right winger would help.
Say if you get an elite centre-back in, which I still got question marks over, do you think you should be in the title challenge?
If we got an elite centre-back in and a 30 midfielder or competition for Kulu, like a creative midfielder or creative option, then yeah, I think with our manager, with Conte as our manager, I think he could work with that squad and try and keep up with these men for the season and challenge. I don't think we would challenge throughout. I think it would obviously like slow down towards the end, but at the very least he would try and punch with them.
Someone else has Longley been.
Pardon?
Longley.
He's not really played for Spurs. Like I didn't want him at the club, but I genuinely think he will be good for Tottenham. I said this in my analysis. I think he will be a good signing for us. I think
so. So if you could sign one player for Tottenham, who would it be then?
Bastoni.
Fair. I don't think that will ever happen, but I can see the reason. Left foot centre back, elite ball carrier, elite on the ball, defensively calm. Yeah, that would fully be the perfect signing for Tottenham.
Mate, Bastoni.
But I think right now, yeah, if the window ended right now, what's your expectations for Spurs?
Target third spot in a trophy. Build upon what we did last season. Try and cut the gap to the top 2 and just consolidate ourselves as a consistent Champions League side. So get third and domestic silverware. FA Cup, League Cup, we got to be going for one of these.
Fair. And someone said think people are overestimating Tottenham, Liverpool and City. Tottenham, Liverpool and City have got 90 plus points a few times. 80 points would be a good benchmark for Tottenham.
80 would be marvelous for us.
I was thinking this the other day though. Do you think Liverpool and City still get 90 plus points this year?
I think they can.
With the World Cup.
I think they can, but I would expect them to be more high 80s this season. I wouldn't put nothing past them though. I would not put nothing past them. There's still going to be a clear gap between them and the rest.
Yeah. By the way, when I say Tottenham title challenge, the only reason I suggest that is because of Conte. If it was any other manager, by the way, it worked. That's not a conversation.
This is it. Yeah. It's only because of Antonio Conte. If we were to get
best,
those 2 signings,
like ceiling raising managers that you could have, mine is the best. But anyway, listen, let's wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to say?
Nah, I'm just looking forward to the season.
It's been nice.
Yeah.
Look at him with the smile on his face.
Forward to the season.
Look at this guy. He's shameless, you know. I know this guy.
Bro, man, I'm happy, man. I'm happy with my team now.
I can't lie. I think you deserve this, you know.
Thank you.
I want to see you like last year. You were sad, didn't it?
Bro,
they get something where you do feel kind of sorry for him.
I was mudded, bro. I was in the pits of hell, man.
But listen, that's gonna be me this season. Hopefully not. Anyway, I'm gonna be back. Well, I think United are playing tomorrow at 5:30, so I'll be back around 9:30, maybe 2 hours after the game's finished, for like a post-match reaction.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees, by the way. I might be. I say every single time that I go live, but you never know. But make sure you guys watch my Zay Emery video that I done the other day. It's like a 4-minute video on, in my eyes, the golden boy of France, one of the best midfielders coming up in Europe. So make sure you guys watch that. But anyway, like the video, subscribe to Tobes. The link is in the title, and I'll be back soon.
Peace.